What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today we are going over my reaction and review of the results of UFC Des Moines, Iowa. A lot of shit went down, so we got a lot to talk about, and yeah, let's get right into it. So I am only going to be discussing the 3 fights that I made a pick on, so let's go ahead and start with Stephens versus Mason Jones. This didn't end the way I thought it would. I thought Stephens was going to knock out Mason Jones, but everything else pretty much went exactly how I predicted. I had said in my prediction video that Mason Jones was just going to be sharper, quicker, more reactive, have better IQ in there. I mean, he's the guy that's been training and fighting MMA for the last couple years, whereas Stephens has been doing hands-only stuff, aside from the PFL, ever since he left the UFC. So I knew the kick game, and if he fought smart, which I didn't think he would, the grappling game for Jones would have really sealed the deal. But that's kind of where I went wrong. I didn't think he was going to fight smart. I thought he was going to try to swing and bang and get in a war with Stephens, which he was for a little bit. And as we saw, Stephens started to really find his rhythm in there, especially with that dirty boxing, nasty uppercuts. I truly believe if Mason Jones kept that third round standing, he would have been put to sleep. Ultimately, though, Mason Jones did what he had to do to win. It wasn't just Jeremy Stephens' return to the UFC, it was Mason Jones's as well, so it was of equal importance for both of them. And I know that's not a fan-grabbing performance, but it was a return to the UFC. He had to do what he had to do to win, but if I'm being honest, Mason Jones isn't going to make it far in the 155 division. He's too chinny. I don't know. I didn't really see any area of expertise that he had. He didn't stand out anywhere. Not on the feet, not really on the ground. I mean, he took Stephens down nonstop, but I feel like anybody that's been training MMA and grappling should have been able to do the same thing. As for Jeremy Stephens, he didn't look bad. I mean, to be fair, my expectations for him were a lot lower than my expectations for Mason Jones. But Stephens came out there and he has a fucking chin, man. He had got the crowd hyped. I don't know. I think he made a little path for himself here in the UFC. Put him on the start of any main card that you're not sure if it'll be good or not, and that'll get the crowd going. I would love to see him versus a King Green, maybe a Moicano. I don't know. There's a lot of 155ers that could really lead to some exciting fights. Mason Jones got the dub. Whatever, it was boring, but good on him. I mean, it's not fair to say the fight was boring. It got pretty exciting, but he did what he had to do to win. So props to him, and I'm excited to see what both guys do in the future. I'm interested to see what matchups they'll get. All right, we are on to the co-main event, the people's main event, the main reason on why you guys clicked this video, most likely. Bo Nickal versus RDR. And I have to start with, I told you guys so. If you go back to my last video, I called it from the fucking jump. I knew Bo Nickal was not on RDR's level, and RDR vindicated me. I know in my last video I was joking, like, oh, I don't know what's telling me, why is RDR better? But that was kind of true. There was nothing in the UFC that showed me RDR was quote-unquote better than Bo Nickal, aside from fighting better competition in GM3 and Kevin Holland. But something that really kind of drove that home for me, knowing that RDR was going to win, was the fact that he was a 2-weight division champion in one. And I just don't think Bo Nickal could do that. Like right now, if Bo Nickal went over to 1 right now, do you think he could become a two division champion? The answer is no. You shouldn't have thought he was going to beat RDR. And it's really that simple. Bo is just too green. And we really saw that in there in the cage. It honestly wasn't a good performance from him. He looked very amateur in there. He was reacting, like visibly reacting to every single shot. Hard shot to the body. And RDR even said as much in his post-fight press conference. He said he noticed Bo was fading to knees to the body, so he started throwing them more. Bo's little 1-2, it just wasn't that good. He seemed lost in there. I don't know. It seemed like after his looping overhand kept missing, he didn't know what to do. His striking seems to have stagnated. And there is an argument there that, well, his opponents have slowly, progressively been getting better and better, so it seems like his striking is stagnated, but I have to disagree with that. He hasn't even thrown anything like new. It's the same overhand, same little 1-2, same silly, goofy step-in jab. It didn't look like he's been developing properly. Honestly, that's really when we knew Bo was fucked. I had said if RDR grinded on his striking, given his length, his reach, if he came out there striking confident, Bo was gonna have a lot of problems, and that's exactly what we saw. He seemed lost, man. And yes, he did get RDR to the ground a couple times, I believe. Or was it once? I don't know. But then he didn't pull guard, but he tried to jump the ghillie. That didn't work out for him. He just, everything he did in there, it looked very amateur. RDR looked good. Like, RDR was a step ahead. He was reading Bo like a book. I do gotta be honest, the internet is somewhat blowing it out of proportion. You should have never thought Bo was gonna win this. It was kind of a mismatch, in my opinion. But I get it. Bo's been talking a lot of shit. Said he'd be a -1,000 favorite over Hamzat. I don't know, all this goofy stuff. Right, said DDP sucks. Says implied Whitaker sucks. Says he'd destroy these guys. That's not true. And I also get the argument, oh, he's quote-unquote young. He has a lot of time to improve. He really doesn't. He's 29 years old, turning 30. To put that into perspective, I believe Drixus is 32 or 33. So if Bo's looking like that at age 30, the clock is ticking. He needs to make vast improvements and leaps in his game if he wants to even compete at the top 5 level. Because right now, I don't even know if he could beat a top 10, to be honest. I really don't think so. He just didn't look that good in there, man. His wrestling, he's supposed to be this wrestling god, but he couldn't even dominate there. He was getting beat up against the fence. RDR was just having his way with him, pretty much. Another issue for Bo, I think, is that, yeah, he's just too green. I think that's the first time he's ever faced adversity in the cage, because we know for a fact they're not beating him up like that in the practice room. They're definitely not. His ego couldn't handle it. And that's probably his biggest issue, because he looked shook when he started getting beat up against the fence. There was a point in there where he held his hands up over his body and kind of froze, like, stop. And yes, I get it. He was getting ripped to the body and the liver. Believe it or not, I've taken some liver shots, so I understand how that can make your body collapse and you just wince in pain. But we've seen so many other fighters fight through it and not fold like that early. And for example, the Kai Kara France he was getting beat up to the body by Moreno, but it wasn't until the final shot that dropped him is where he really started to show it, like, oh, and he collapsed. Bo was telegraphing it from the jump. He was wincing, covering up. Right, when he froze against the fence there, standing up, we knew it was over. And there's this kind of, I want to say, embarrassing little screenshot there where, yeah, he's folded up and his hand is kind of partially up. I'll put it up right now. And he's like, oh, RDR, stop. But yeah, that was a terrible performance by Bo. He killed any hype he had. I don't know what's next for him. I really don't. He should have stuck with fighting the Brendages, the Jamie Pickett's, all of that. He just was not ready for this level, and let alone an RDR. I don't know if that was the UFC underestimating RDR, the UFC overestimating Bo Nickal, maybe both, but this matchmaking made no sense. Once again, the UFC have crumbled a prospect by feeding them to the wolves, so we'll see what they'll do with Bo next. Maybe they're just gonna use him as a feeder to other prospects coming up now that they see he's not all that. Who knows? For RDR, I would love to see him fight Sean Strickland. I think that was a great call out by him. Sean doesn't seem to be busy right now, so that was smart. That was a smart call out by RDR. And yeah, I'm a fan of RDR. I'm excited to see what he does. I think he handled himself real well in the interviews and seems like a charming, funny guy. So yeah, I'm excited to see what's in the future for both of these guys, but it's not looking too good for Bo Nickal. He will never, ever get close to touching that belt. Okay, now we're on to the main event, Cory Sandhagen versus Davison Figueiredo. And this went exactly how I thought it would. Sandhagen just styled on Figgy. There really wasn't much for Figgy to do to win this fight. I had said Figgy needed to make it dirty, use his strength, his power to really grapple Sandhagen, but he tried to do that, and it didn't work out for him. It ended up with him on his back getting a lot of punches to the face. So Sandhagen looked real good in there, and I mean, I kind of figured he would. I know MMA math isn't like the Bible, and we gotta, it's fact, it is law. But the fact that Jan kind of pieced up Figgy, and then Sandhagen pieced up Jan, I just kind of knew Figgy was going to get fucked up in this fight. And I'm a massive Figgy fan, really, but he's 37 years old. He moved up a weight class a little too late, and it doesn't help that his weight class is filled with killers on all levels early on in the rankings to high up in the rankings. It just wasn't really a good mix for the God of War there, and it sucks to see. I feel like he got finished pretty quickly in there. The Figgy that was fighting Moreno would have dogged through that and would have found some ways to get up and, you know, things like that. But I think deep down he knows he's not going to end up fighting for a title, especially after that Jan fight. So he's just kind of there just to be there. What else is he going to do? And if he decides to retire soon, good for him. I hope him and his water buffalo can live a happy life. But yeah, I didn't like seeing that. I'm a massive fan of both of these guys, I guess. But the Figgy Moreno fight was one of the first fights that I watched that really made me lock into MMA. So I got a soft spot for Figgy, and yeah, it just sucks to see him go out like that. As for Sandhagen, I mean, that was a great performance. He looked very, very good, very slick, very calm, He wasn't as, I feel like, bouncy as he normally is, but that's okay. I was probably trying to conserve energy. I think he mentioned that he knew he can't be wasting his energy like that. So that was smart by Sandhagen to play it how he played it. I do support him in wanting him to get a title shot next. I think it's about time we see it, especially if O'Malley wins. I would love to watch that. But I don't think he beats Merab, like, at all. If he couldn't beat Umar because of the grappling, I don't think he could beat Merab because of the grappling. But yeah, I think he's earned his title shot. I'm not too sure who his last couple of fights were. I know, was it Figgy and then Umar? Yeah, so maybe not. But I don't know. It could be recency bias, but I think he's deserving of it. I'm not too sure who else at 135 is more qualified for it right now. So I don't know. I support Sandhagen in that, but I don't really have much to say about this fight. It kind of went exactly how I thought it would. Sandhagen styled on Figgy. I didn't think he was going to finish Figgy. Honestly, I thought he was just going to piece him up for 5 rounds, but Figgy just doesn't have that dog in him anymore, man. He's just done. He's done with this sport, I guess. Mentally, his heart isn't there. And I think I saw a stat. It's Figgy's first time losing twice in a row for in 10 years or in his entire career or some shit. I don't know, man. But Figgy is very under-respected, unappreciated, I feel like. And yeah, I don't know. This is turning into a Figgy Glaze session. But yeah, Sandhagen got a solid win. I predicted it, so I'm happy. I'm 2-1 on my picks for UFC Des Moines, Iowa. The other fights were alright. They got me excited as well, but these were mainly the fights that most people and myself were really looking forward to. But overall, I really hope the UFC stops going to the fucking Apex and starts doing more things like this, going to cities, themed events kind of like that, because that crowd makes all the difference, dude. It really does. It gets you hyped. And yeah, I mean, it was just a good night of fights. That is going to be it for today, guys. Thanks for watching. As always, if you enjoyed, make sure to like, subscribe, and share it with your friends. We are a small channel, so that goes a very, very long way. Any viewer is very important to me. So make sure to follow me over on Twitter/X at SockOnDsLive. Talk a lot of shit about fights there. Live tweet during the fights typically. So if you want to talk with me during the fights live, make sure to follow me over there. And yeah, make sure to comment down below. What was your favorite fight of the night? Who should have gotten the performance bonus in your opinion? Is Bo Nickal in as bad of a spot as we say he is, or are we overreacting this? Are we blowing this out of proportion? Or is he a future champ? Is this going to be good for him? Is he going to learn from it? Comment down below what you think. And yeah, I'll have my prediction video for UFC 315 out on Wednesday. Thanks for watching, guys. See ya.